Welcome to Finance Dojo. We aim to be the best personal finance educational channel you'll ever need. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell right now so you won't miss out. It was in 1926 when George Samuel Clayson released a series of Babylonian-themed fables. The Richest Man in Babylon is a classic in financial literature because of these parables. If you've never read it, you're in for a treat when you discover the tried and true strategies for building a fortune. Bansir, a chariot builder, and Kobe, a musician, are introduced at the beginning of the story. The two had honed their skill in fine art, but they were broke and unable to buy anything. To get their bearings, they turned to their boyhood buddy Arcad, who had grown up to be a very wealthy man. Arcad was Babylon's wealthiest man, and even though he lavishingly spent and generously gave to charity, he appeared to have an inexhaustible supply of money. For this, Arcad recounted his own narrative to his two companions, saying that in exchange for his work on an inscription on clay, he was hired by a wealthy man who wanted to learn the secret of wealth growth. The rich guy agreed, and he offered him a very useful lesson. He said, "I found the road to riches when I determined that a part of whatever I made was mine to retain, and so will you." This is a very strong lesson, and it's the basis upon which every rich person has built their money. Arcad, Babylon's wealthiest man, didn't acquire his wealth by squandering his money. To amass his fortune, he saved and invested a little percentage of each paycheck, usually about 10%. The first rule of gold is to set aside 10% of your income for investment. Gold comes willingly and in growing quantities to a man who will set aside not less than 1/10 of his wages to develop an estate for his and his family's future, the book states. This rule is related to the concept of paying oneself first. Paying yourself first is a proactive approach to financial independence, as wealthy people recognize. Many individuals continuously moan about how little money they have. They'll say things like, "No matter what I do, I always have nothing left at the end of the month," or "My work doesn't pay me enough." Although these arguments are correct, if one examines where their money is going, they will discover that most of the so-called priorities, such as weekly meals out or going out every week, are not required expenses, and are in fact a significant drain on your income statement. Instead, save away 10% of your monthly income the moment you receive your salary, before you pay your bills, rent, utilities, mortgage, or Netflix. Make sure you've set aside 10%. The earlier you begin, the better off you will be, and the greater your savings and investing money will become. You will not only benefit from compounding growth to help build your money quicker, but you will also be less concerned if you face a severe financial crisis, such as a large medical cost, a hefty auto repair, or, in the worst-case scenario, a layoff. The second rule of gold is to put your money to work. Gold laboreth tirelessly and cheerfully to the intelligent owner who finds lucrative occupation for it, increasing as the lambs of the field. The text reads, "Money and gold are eager workers, and Babylon's richest man learned early on how money works and how to put his money to work for him. He was able to keep track of his spending and distinguish between needs and luxury. Many individuals have difficulty distinguishing between the two. The rule of thumb for luxuries is simple. If you don't need it, don't purchase it. That's all there is to it. As your funds grow, you may begin exploring your profitable and secure assets to invest in. You may invest your money in a variety of ways, including real estate, stocks, bonds, and enterprises. However, before making any significant investment, you must be assured of where you're placing your money. Make wise investments, and your money will reward you well." The third rule of gold is to seek first guidance, or as I like to say, wisdom before investing. Gold clingeth to the protection of the owner, who invested under the advice of knowledgeable individuals in its handling. The Bible states, "You work hard for your money, and you shouldn't lose a single penny. So why would you put your confidence in your own inexperienced investing decisions? This is exactly what many poor and middle-class individuals do. They invest based on their gut sensations or information they've received from friends, co-workers, or even on the radio or television. What invariably occurs is that people lose their money, or that what they thought was a good investment turns out to be a hoax. You would seldom hear that the investments were profitable or that any money was made. The wealthy, on the other hand, seek counsel from experts in the field of finance. Just as you wouldn't trust a cook to conduct heart surgery on your chest, you shouldn't trust those who aren't competent in the methods of making and handling money to advise you on where to deposit and invest your hard-earned money before making any substantial investments. God slippeth away from the man who investeth in companies or purposes with which he is unfamiliar or which are not approved by those trained in its keeping, says the fourth law of gold. I believe that using my friend John to demonstrate this concept is the greatest method to do so. So for the last year, John has been following and practicing the first law of gold, and he has amassed a substantial sum of money, totaling $10,000. So, my friend John is a decently intelligent man who reads several books a year and watches TV and YouTube videos on his favorite subject, investing and money earning. Although, as I previously stated, John is a clever man, he does have an Achilles heel when it comes to investing. These are the kinds of investments that John and many other impoverished people make. They jump on a good investment the instant they hear it on TV or radio. You've heard it all before. This is one real estate opportunity you can't afford to miss. Or buying this company because it's too huge to fail. 2 months later, guess what? When it comes to investment, the basic guideline is simple. If you don't understand it, don't invest in it. Instead, as the third law says, seek assistance from guys who know how to keep and make money. Instead of investing in faulty stocks and real estate, John should have done this. Instead, he should have sought the advice of someone successful and profitable in real estate or stock investment. So now my friend John is broke and only has approximately $500 in his bank account. But all hope is not gone. In his despair, he devises a clever scheme to recoup his losses. His scheme is simple, bright, and cunning, and he believes it will succeed. John intends to travel to Vegas and wager on a few sports to recoup his losses. He is completely positive that he will be able to recoup his investments. The fifth rule of gold is gold flees the guy who tries to drive it to unattainable profits, or who listens to the seductive advice of con artists and schemers, or who puts his faith in his own naive and passionate investing impulses. You see, in an attempt to recoup his losses, John decided that gambling would be the quickest and easiest method to do it. While some individuals do make a lot of money playing, it wasn't John's fortunate day. That year, my friend John learned two extremely significant things. To begin with, whatever occurs in Vegas remains in Vegas. Second, there is no quick method to get wealthy. The book's idea is based on the teachings Arcad taught his pals, and they are wealth-building practices that I think every wealthy person has followed to amass their fortune. These teachings have helped millions of individuals become financially stable and affluent, and I am confident that they will help you develop a solid financial foundation as well. As always, this video is for educational purposes only and not financial advice. You should always do your own research and speak to a financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.